You think the past is gone, yesterday's over, last year is finished. Your childhood is behind you. The past exists only in memory, in fading photographs, in stories people tell. It feels distant, blurred, like something that used to be real but isn't anymore. And when you try to reach back to it, you can't. You can only remember fragments, pieces, echoes of what once was solid and present. But here's what physics tells you. The past is not gone, not in the way you think. The past is not erased. It's not deleted from reality. The past is still here, right now, embedded in the present, written into the structure of everything around you. Every object, every atom, every photon carries information about what happened before. The universe is not a series of disconnected moments. It's a continuous record, and the past is preserved in that record whether you remember it or not. Let me show you what I mean. Start with something concrete. You're sitting in a room. There's a table, a chair, walls. These objects exist right now, present tense. But each object is a record of the past. The table was a tree decades ago. The tree grew from a seed. The seed came from another tree. The atoms in that tree came from the soil, from water, from carbon dioxide in the air. Those atoms were once part of other organisms, other plants, ancient geology. Every atom in that table has a history stretching back billions of years, and that history is not erased. It's encoded. The isotope ratios in the wood tell you about the climate when the tree grew. The ring patterns tell you about seasons. The grain structure tells you about growth rate. The chemical composition tells you about soil nutrients. If you know how to read it, the table is a historical document, not a memory, a physical record. The same is true for everything else. Your body. Your body is made of atoms that were once part of stars. Those stars exploded billions of years ago. The atoms scattered. They drifted through space. They condensed into new stars, planets, oceans, organisms. They cycled through countless life forms before becoming part of you. And each atom still carries traces of that history. The ratios of isotopes, the energy states of electrons, the quantum numbers of nuclei. This is not metaphor. This is physical information encoded in matter. Now here's the deeper point. The present state of the universe contains information about all past states. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough that if you knew the exact configuration of every particle right now, you could in principle reconstruct what happened before. Physics is reversible. The equations work backward as well as forward. Given the present, you can calculate the past. The past is not gone, it's compressed into the present. This is not how we experience time. We experience the past as separate, as over, as inaccessible. But that's a feature of our consciousness, not a feature of physics. Physics doesn't distinguish between past and future. At the fundamental level, the laws of motion are time-symmetric. Run them forward, you get the future. Run them backward, you get the past. Both directions work. So why does the past feel different from the future? Why can you remember yesterday, but not tomorrow? The answer is entropy. Entropy is disorder. And the second law of thermodynamics says entropy always increases. The universe started in a low entropy state, very ordered, very special, and it's been evolving toward higher entropy ever since. More disorder, more randomness. This gives time a direction, an arrow. The past is the direction of lower entropy. The future is the direction of higher entropy. But here's the critical point. Increasing entropy is not the same as erasing information. When a glass breaks, entropy increases. The shattered glass is more disordered than the intact glass, but the information about the intact glass is not destroyed. It's still there, in the exact positions and velocities of all the glass fragments. If you knew those positions and velocities perfectly, you could in principle run the physics backward and reconstruct the intact glass. The past state is encoded in the present state. Of course, in practice, you can't do this. The information is scrambled. It's spread out. It's mixed with noise, but it's not gone. It's just hard to access. There's a difference between information being destroyed and information being inaccessible. Think about a photograph. You take a picture of a moment, the moment passes, but the photograph remains. The photograph is a physical object encoding information about the past. The arrangement of silver grains in film or pixels in a digital sensor carries information about light that hit the camera at a specific time. That light came from objects that existed at that moment. The objects reflected sunlight. The sunlight traveled from the sun. The sun fused hydrogen into helium. The The hydrogen came from the early universe. The photograph is a chain of causation linking the present to the past. And when you look at the photograph, you're not accessing the past directly. You're accessing information about the past that's stored in the present. The photograph is a memory, not a human memory, a physical memory. And unlike human memory, it doesn't fade in the same way. It degrades, yes. The image fades. The paper yellows. But the degradation is physical. It's a process you can measure. It's not the subjective blurring that happens in your mind. Now let's talk about your brain. Your memories are physical. They're not abstract. They're not separate from the material world. Memories are configurations of neurons, patterns of connections, strengths of synapses. When you remember something, specific neurons fire in specific patterns. Those patterns were created by past experiences. The past shaped your brain physically, and that physical shaping persists. It is the memory. But here's the thing. Even if you forget something, even if the memory fades from your conscious awareness, the past event still happened, and it still left traces, not just in your brain, in the world. A conversation you had with someone years ago affected their brain too. It affected their behavior. Their behavior affected other people. Those effects propagated. The conversation is over, but its effects ripple forward. The past continues to influence the present through chains of causation. This is what it means to say the past is not gone. The past is not a separate realm that ceased to exist. The past is the set of events that caused the present, and causation is physical. Every present configuration of matter was caused by a previous configuration. That previous configuration was caused by an earlier one. Back and back and back. The past is written into the present through the chain of cause and effect. Now here's where it gets subtle. Can you actually reconstruct the past from the present? In principle, if physics is truly reversible, yes. If you knew the exact state of every particle in the universe right now, you could run the equations backward and calculate what the state was yesterday, last year, 1 billion years ago. All the information is there, encoded in positions, momenta, quantum states. The universe is a deterministic system. The future follows from the present. The past is implied by the present. But there are problems, practical problems and fundamental problems. Practical. You can't measure the exact state of every particle. Measurement disturbs the system. And even if you could measure everything, you'd need unimaginable computational power to run the calculation. The universe is the most efficient computer for simulating itself. Anything else is an approximation. Fundamental quantum mechanics introduces uncertainty. You can't know both position and momentum exactly. That's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And quantum measurements collapse wave functions. They erase information about previous states. So even in principle, perfect reconstruction is impossible. But partial reconstruction is possible. Forensic science does this. You find evidence at a crime scene. Fingerprints, DNA, footprints. Each piece of evidence is a trace of the past. A record. By analyzing these traces, you reconstruct what happened. You can't see the past directly, but you can infer it from the present. Geology does this. Rocks are records. Sedimentary layers tell you about ancient environments. Fossils tell you about ancient life. Isotope ratios tell you about ancient temperatures. The rock is not a memory. It's a physical structure that was shaped by past processes. And that structure persists. The past is frozen into the rock. Astronomy does this. When you look at a star, you're seeing light that left that star years ago. The star might not even exist anymore, but the light is still traveling. It's a messenger from the past. The farther you look into space, the farther back in time you see. The cosmic microwave background is light from 380,000 years after the Big Bang. It's been traveling for 13.8 billion years. We're seeing the early universe, not because we're traveling back in time, because the information took that long to reach us. This is key. The past is not accessible by traveling backward through time. The past is accessible through information that has persisted from then until now. And that information is physical. It's carried by light, by matter, by fields. The universe is a recording device, and the recording is the present state of everything. Now let's think about time perception. Why does the past feel distant? Why does it feel dreamlike? Because your access to the past is limited. You don't have perfect records. You have fragments, memories that fade, photographs that degrade, documents that are lost. The information is being scrambled by entropy, mixed with noise. overwritten by new experiences. So your subjective experience is that the past is slipping away. But that's your experience, not the objective reality. Objectively, the past events still happened. The atoms that were arranged in specific ways at specific times are still around. They've been rearranged, they've moved, they've interacted with other atoms, but they're not gone. They're here. The past is distributed throughout the present. Think about your childhood home. Maybe it's been demolished. The building is gone. But the atoms that made up that building are still on Earth, scattered, recycled. Some became part of other buildings. Some became part of soil. Some became part of living organisms. The structure is gone, but the matter persists, and in some abstract sense, the information about that structure still exists, not in one place, spread out, encoded in correlations between particles scattered across the planet. This is why forgetting doesn't erase the past. If you forget something, the memory trace in your brain weakens, the synaptic connections degrade, but the event that created the memory still happened, and it affected more than just your brain. It affected everything that was there, the room you were in, the people you were with, the air molecules that carried sound waves. All of it was part of a causal chain, and that chain continues. The past is not stored in your memory alone. It's stored in the world. There's a profound implication here. Even total amnesia doesn't erase personal history. A person who loses all memory of their past still has a past. Medical records exist, photographs exist, other people's memories exist. DNA contains ancestral information going back millions of years. The person's cells carry molecular traces of past experiences, stress, nutrition. Their body is a physical record even when their mind cannot read it. The past persists independently of anyone's ability to remember it. This becomes even clearer when we think about objects. Ancient artifacts in museums are not representations of the past. They are the past. A clay pot made 5,000 years ago is not a symbol of ancient civilization. It is that civilization, a piece of it, preserved, continued. The potter who shaped that clay died millennia ago, but the atoms they touched, the fingerprints they left, the heat from their hands that altered the clay's crystalline structure, all of that persists. When you look at the pot, you are seeing the direct physical consequence of actions taken 5,000 years ago. No metaphor. Direct causation across time. Now here's a thought experiment. Suppose you could perfectly reverse entropy. Suppose you could take every particle in the universe and reverse its momentum. Everything moving forward now moves backward. Everything moving left now moves right. What would happen? Time would run backward. Broken glasses would reassemble. Smoke would undisperse. People would unage. The universe would retrace its steps. And you would experience the past, not as a memory, as present reality, because the past is nothing more than a previous configuration of matter. And if you recreate that configuration, you recreate that moment. This is impossible in practice. You can't reverse the momentum of every particle. Entropy always increases globally, but locally, temporarily, you can decrease entropy. You can reassemble a broken glass. You can organize scattered papers. You can restore a damaged photograph. When you do this, you're partially reconstructing a past state. You're bringing the past back into the present. Not perfectly, but partially. And this is what all preservation is. Museums preserve artifacts. Libraries preserve books. Archives preserve documents. This is not just keeping old things around. It's maintaining information about the past in physical form. The artifact is not a symbol of the past. It is the past, a piece of the past that has survived into the present. Your body is like this too. Your cells are constantly being replaced. The atoms in your body cycle through every few years, but the pattern persists, the structure, the information. You are not the same atoms you were 10 years ago, but you are the same pattern, the same information, and that information has continuity with your past. Your present body is causally connected to your past body through a continuous process of replacement and renewal. This is why identity persists even though everything physical changes, because identity is not the matter, it's the pattern. The information, and information can be preserved even as the substrate changes. The past self is not gone. It's transformed into the present self. The past is continuous with the present through the flow of information. Now let's talk about time feeling faster as you age. This is a common experience. When you're young, summer feels endless. A year feels like forever. But as you get older, years flash by. Why? One explanation is novelty. When you're young, everything is new. Every experience is novel. Your brain encodes a lot of detail, a lot of memories. So when you look back, there's a lot to remember. The subjective duration feels long because the memory is dense with detail. But as you age, life becomes routine. You've seen most things before. Your brain doesn't encode as much detail, fewer memories. So when you look back, there's less there. The subjective duration feels short because the memory is sparse. Another explanation is proportion. When you're 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. It's huge. But when you're 50, 1 year is 2% of your life. It's a much smaller fraction. So it feels shorter by comparison. Both explanations are about perception, about how your brain processes and stores information. But objectively, the duration is the same. 1 year is 1 year, 365 days. The past is not actually moving faster. Your access to it is changing. There's another layer to this phenomenon. As you accumulate more experiences, each new experience becomes a smaller fraction of your total experience. When you're 5, learning to ride a bike is a major event in your life history. When you're 50, learning a new skill is just one of thousands you've learned. The relative significance decreases, so the brain allocates fewer resources to encoding it. The memory is weaker, the subjective duration shorter. Your brain is optimizing storage based on novelty and significance. Routine events get compressed. Novel events get expanded. The past feels faster because you're encoding less of it with high fidelity. But here's what's interesting. Objective time hasn't changed. The rotation of the Earth is constant. Atomic clocks tick at the same rate regardless of your age. The difference is entirely in how your neural system processes temporal experience. The past is the same length. Your perception of it has changed. This reveals something fundamental. Time as you experience it is not the same as time as physics measures it. Subjective time is a construct, a model your brain builds, and that model changes based on your history, your neural architecture, your current state. The physics of time is independent of that model. Now here's the existential part. If the past is encoded in the present and the present will become the past, then the present is already becoming a record. Right now, this moment is leaving traces. Your brain is encoding it. Photons are scattering. Atoms are interacting. Everything happening now is writing itself into the physical structure of the universe. And that structure will persist. This moment will become part of the past, but it won't be gone. It will be embedded in the next moment, and the next, forward and forward. The present is constantly becoming past, but the past is constantly present. This is why you can't escape your past. Not because it haunts you psychologically, because it's physically part of you. Your past experiences shaped your neurons. Your past decisions led to present circumstances. Your past actions set in motion causal chains that are still unfolding. The past is not behind you. It's inside you. It's around you. It's the foundation of everything you are and everything you do. And this is true for the universe as a whole. The Big Bang is not over. It's still happening. The expansion that started 13.8 billion years ago is continuing. The matter and energy that existed then still exists now, transformed, rearranged, but not gone. The early universe is not separate from the current universe. The current universe is the early universe evolved forward. The past is the root of the present. So when you look at the world, you're seeing history, not metaphorically, literally. The light entering your eyes left the objects you're seeing milliseconds ago. That's the past. The table you're touching is made of atoms with billion-year histories. That's the past. The thoughts in your head are shaped by experiences that happened years ago. That's the past. Everything you perceive is a record, a trace, an echo of what came before. The past is not gone. The past is here, compressed, encoded, distributed, transformed, but here. The universe does not erase its history. It carries it forward. Every moment is built on the previous moment. Every configuration of matter is caused by the previous configuration. The chain is unbroken. The past flows into the present, and the present flows into the future, and all of it is one continuous process. You cannot touch the past directly. You cannot see it as it was, but you can see its effects, its traces, its legacy. The past is invisible but present, intangible but real, gone from direct experience, but preserved in the structure of everything that exists. This is what time is. Not a series of disconnected moments appearing and disappearing, but a continuous transformation, a flow of information, a chain of causation linking every moment to every other moment. The past is not separate from the present. The past is the cause of the present, and the present is the past transformed. Reality does not forget. Reality does not erase. Reality accumulates. Every moment adds to the total. Every event leaves its mark. And the sum of all those marks is the present state of the universe. The past is not gone. The past is everywhere. You're standing on it. You're made of it. You're living in it, and it's living in you. This is not comforting. It's not designed to make you feel better about loss or change. It's just what physics says. The past is information. Information is physical. Physical things persist. Therefore, the past persists, not as a separate dimension you can visit, as a component of the present. The past is the foundation. The present is the structure built on that foundation, and the future is the structure yet to be built. Reality is not obligated to match your intuitions about time. It is only obligated to be consistent. And the consistency of physics demands that the past be encoded in the present, that information be preserved, that causation be continuous. The universe is a recording of its own history, and that recording is what we call reality.